Imagine a world without Google. No social media, no online shopping, no cat videos. If you want to connect with someone outside of shouting distance, you have to, well, actually go outside of shouting distance. Sounds like science fiction, right? Like if someone took 1994 and called it a Tuesday. Today we're diving into the serious, the unexpected question, what if the internet disappeared for a year? The global economy, that delicate, interconnected ecosystem we all rely on, would face a severe crisis. I'm talking full-on panic. Let's start with supply chains, shall we? International trade, the backbone of our globalized world, relies heavily on the internet. Without it, tracking shipments would be extremely difficult, and coordinating deliveries or managing inventory would be a nightmare. It would be absolute pandemonium. Online retailers, those behemoths of the digital age, would struggle immensely. E-commerce giants, your Amazons, your Alibabas, would be reduced to basic operations. And countless smaller businesses, those who've pinned their hopes and dreams on the digital marketplace, would simply cease to exist. Remember financial markets? Those volatile, often irrational beasts that dictate the flow of global capital? Yeah, they'd basically implode. Stock trading would screech to a halt, cryptocurrency would become nearly useless, and online banking? Forget about it. It would be like trying to withdraw cash from a wishing well. And the cherry on top of this economic disaster? Mass unemployment, millions of jobs gone, poof. Software engineers, social media managers, those who write online content, all out of work. Remember when you could just pop online and instantly connect with anyone, anywhere in the world? Well, say goodbye to your virtual happy hour with friends across the country. First up, isolation and loneliness, social media, video calls, online gaming, all gone. It would be like someone hit the mute button on human interaction. Sure, some people might rediscover the joys of face-to-face conversation, but for many, it would be a recipe for social isolation and a whole lot of awkward silences. Imagine a world where news and information were harder to verify. Conspiracy theories would spread rapidly, misinformation would become the norm, and trust in institutions, well, it would be very rare. Remember entertainment, streaming services, online gaming, those delightful rabbit holes of YouTube videos that keep you up until 3 a.m? Gone. Entertainment options would be severely limited, board games would make a comeback, and let's not forget the resurgence of amateur theatre. Get ready for your neighbour's interpretive dance recital. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Without the constant distractions of the online world, we might just rediscover the joys of our local communities. We might actually have to talk to our neighbours, borrow a cup of sugar, and maybe even form meaningful connections. Chapter 3. Technological Regression, the Stone Age of the Information Age. So, we've established that the internet going down would be the economic equivalent of a major crisis and make our social lives quite dull. But what about technology? Surely we wouldn't just revert back to the Stone Age, right? Well, let's just say things would get a little primitive. Imagine a world where scientific collaboration was highly inefficient. Data sharing would be a logistical nightmare. Online research would be a distant memory, and medical breakthroughs would slow significantly. We're talking carrier pigeons delivering research papers. It would be like taking a time machine back to the days of the Pony Express. Remember online learning platforms? Those digital havens of knowledge? Yeah, they'd be gone. Millions of students would be left stranded without access to educational resources. Sure, we could always go back to the good old days of textbooks and chalkboards, but let's be honest, who even remembers how to use a card catalogue anymore? Our infrastructure, those essential systems that keep our modern world running smoothly, like power grids and transportation networks, yeah, those often rely on internet-connected systems. Chapter 4. Global Instability, World Peace, Not Without Wi-Fi. So far, we've established that the internet going dark would be a complete and utter disaster on an economic, social and technological level. But what about the geopolitical implications? Well, let's just say that without the internet, the world would become a much more volatile and unpredictable place. Imagine a game of Risk played by inexperienced players and you're halfway there. Now you might think that without the internet, cyber warfare would be a thing of the past. And you'd be right to an extent. No more phishing scams, no more ransomware attacks, no more bots trying to influence elections. But here's the catch. Without the internet, our ability to defend against those attacks would also be severely hampered. It would be like trying to fight a cyber war with outdated tools. The internet allows for instant communication between world leaders, diplomats and international organizations. Without it, coordinating a global response to, say, a pandemic, a natural disaster or a rogue state with nuclear ambitions would be extremely challenging. The lack of reliable information and the spread of misinformation would exacerbate existing tensions between countries. In short, the world would become a much more dangerous place with the risk of conflict escalating rapidly. Outro, the internet, appreciate it while it lasts. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the chaotic, confusing and frankly terrifying world without the internet. Now, before you start stockpiling canned goods and learning how to churn butter, let me assure you that a complete internet outage is highly unlikely. But this thought experiment does highlight our profound dependence on this intricate network of tubes and wires. It forces us to consider the potential consequences of our increasing reliance on technology and the importance of building a more resilient and equitable digital future. Because let's face it, the internet might not be perfect, but it's a lot better than the alternative.